Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Have you thought about what one of your divine brilliances is as a woman? That you have the ability to take anything that's given to you in energy form, break it down, and then put it back together in an amplified fashion. That's one of the beautiful things about you. I mean, if you do any type of meal prep, you are taking the ingredients, you're breaking them down, you're putting them back together, and then you are nurturing and nourishing others with that meal in an amplified fashion that those ingredients separately could not do. Now, I don't cook, but what I do is I take the energy that you give me with your challenges and I break it down, put it back together, and I give it to you as a process that gets you the progress that you're looking for based on who you are and your unique identity. So this is something that is unique to you. But here's where the challenge comes in at. When you're given something out of order, then you are going to amplify what's out of order into crisis, chaos, and confusion. So somebody comes to you and they are out of order. You've heard me say before, I don't think you're broken. I don't think you're flawed. I don't think you need to be fixed. I think you have been taught some unhealthy ways to cope with life that's actually holding you back from the brilliance of who you really are. So when someone or something comes into your world, you decide you're going to help them or help it, but your job isn't to put them back into order. Your job is amplification. So as I'm going through and I'm sharing with you what it is that you need to do to move from enduring to ending, I want you to think about what's the problem that's been holding you back and how you can start putting it back on the shelf. It's not yours. It might be a person. It might be a situation that shows up again and again in your life. We need to say, you know what? You're not taking ownership of that anymore. Because at one point, that's exactly what you learned to do. You were put into a situation, and they say 80% of who you are was learned by age 8. So maybe you were a kid, teenager, young adult. I'm not sure. What I do know is that you were put into a situation that you did not have the ability to handle. And so you either learned to people please. Now, I was not a people pleaser. I was a rebel. So what I learned was to do whatever was needed to make the goal happen. But whether it's people pleasing or making the goal happen, you learn to do it at the expense of yourself. Yeah. And then what happened is that you started to see some progress moving forward, but you didn't see that the process that you were using was actually flawed. All you could see, it's not known as cognitive bias, all you could see was problems to be solved. Now, if you want to understand more about that, go back to my previous podcast, number 337, where I talk about you were programmed and conditioned to solve problems, thinking that's how you were going to get ahead in life, instead of the process that was going to be revealing you at your very best. So you were put into a situation that you had to endure. You didn't have the ability to get out. You were taught to tolerate that person or that situation and try to make it the very best that you could. And you did. In fact, you were probably known as an expert of being able to make things happen. And you're very confident in that area and intelligent and well put together and creative and a visionary on solving problems. And you know what happens with that? Problems become very seductive. Problems call out to you. And you go from one problem to the next, which is only going to lead to short-term happiness. And you wonder why life is such a challenge. And you are getting dopamine hits in a very destructive way. I'm going to be talking about that on the next podcast. So I want you to think about taking that problem and putting it back on the shelf. You need to end your relationship with it. Now, it might be a person. It might be a situation that you continually find yourself in. It's because you have an identity that makes that person, it makes that situation very seductive, very alluring, because it's going to bring you out at your best. All you're doing is enduring. The more alluring it is, the longer you're going to stay stuck and repeating those patterns and programs and behaviors. There's another side to your identity because everything is created as a whole. It's known as the law of polarity. For there to be a down, there's an up. For there to be an inside, there has to be an outside. So the law of contrast says that there's another side to this. And that is your identity of your brilliance, what you're the best at. Not where you've been taught to solve problems, but instead design a life that is going to allow you to begin to live the destiny that you feel like you've been called for. And doing this repeat is not it. If you continue, and you've probably already experienced this, if you continue to be seen as a tool to solve problems, then you will become somebody's hero. It's what's known as the drama trauma triangle. And you will find victims to be their hero because you're going to help them break the bonds against the bully that's holding them back. But that is not empowering anybody. That's actually enabling them to stay stuck because there's no transfer of authority. And when there's not any transfer of authority, the process isn't given to the person who's experiencing being a victim. And then they begin to resent you. And now you're seen as the bully. And by the way, it doesn't have to be with just other people in your life. It can be actually with the aspects of you, that younger you that was in a situation that they learned that they had to endure. They couldn't end it. They didn't have an ability to end it and put the person or the problem back on the shelf and go, I'm not doing this anymore. And so now you can't even trust yourself. Well, there's 5 levels of trust. The very first one is that you understand the person. And the second level is you can be for them after you understand them. Now you know why you don't trust yourself and why you're not following through, because you're not using a process that is going to empower you, all aspects of you. You're just seeking out more problems to solve. Okay, we need to stop this. We need to end this. No longer are you to endure. You are supposed to be designing. So you can work with me, and if you wind up not working with me, I will guarantee you will walk away with a tip, tool, or technique that you can use same day for same day results. You're not going to get resolution, but you will get same day results. So reach out to me, 1-636-699-7791, dawnlandrum.com, canhypnosishelpyou.com. So problem goes back on the shelf. It ends, and it needs to end now. And you need to start designing and living the life that you deserve.